everything.
You don't gotta tell me twice.
Like, if you look at it from the outside, it's so stupid. Oh, I pick my front wheel up and I move around on my motorcycle, hoping that it doesn't shut off, the clutch cable doesn't break, the fucking brake doesn't go out, the gas doesn't run out, the fuel pump doesn't cut out, the electrical doesn't go out. You're just there's like 100 things that could go wrong, but for some reason jumping around on my bike is a lot of fun.
And all that he said, that's all happened to people. Like, everybody's gone through that at least once. But we get back up and we just keep on trucking. Where do you think you'd be if none of us got into stunt riding, you know? I'd be in fucking jail.
I don't know. I don't even know what I'd do. I'd just be a loser playing video games or something. And
Yeah.
only have a couple friends.
It's just like, you can't explain it. Like I said, you can't even watch it and realize how insane it is until you're just there and you're like, we're literally doing whatever we want. I mean, we're not like
literally
blowing shit up and like hurting people and stuff like that, but I mean, we're doing whatever we want really and not getting in trouble.
They left me in jail last time I got arrested.
And we'll leave again next time, too.
Yeah.
I can't say I love it, but as a mom, you don't like anything where your kid does the risk, whether it's war or bikes. But I guess for me, it's just because he loves it so much. It's like, I guess you have to accept it when somebody loves something that much. Maybe the military, that's changed me. Barry loved flying fighters, even though I didn't like the whole idea.
I can't feel bad about Kevin and his adrenaline. Flying is adrenaline. I could see where you like the two.
Yeah.
You do have groups of friends. I mean, when you're in the military, I'm sure you had your whole platoon or whatever you had all together. You've got your good close friends.
Yeah, maybe the bike saved me from going back as a contractor, because that would have been my worst nightmare, because he thought about it. What do they call those guys?
I'm actually talking to my friend about doing that stuff.
Yeah, you're not. Get back on your bike. What do they call them?
They're contractors.
It's contract.
Yeah. I just talked to my friend when we were in Houston about it.
Yeah.
Been swinging the idea around about going back over as a contractor. You get that excitement, you get that adrenaline again. To say that you go to a foreign country when you're 18, 19 years old, I think after a year you're gonna come back changed, whether it's good or bad, but pretty much you've been out of society and you gotta readjust to being back home, and you know, you get used to certain things over there. You don't really deal with women, children much. You drive a certain way over there, like you don't drive near the side of the road, you always drive towards, you know, the inside of the road, because they always put bombs on the outside of the road, so it's just kind of a readjusting back to it. On the first tour, my little brother he was graduating high school. Of course, they set off fireworks right at the end of it, and I remember it just, I wasn't ready for it. You don't think about it, you just like, oh shit, oh. And then like after a couple seconds, I'm like, oh, that's right, I'm not there anymore, you know? I definitely feel like riding got me away from stuff. I mean, it's just like it gets you to not think about some of the more serious stuff. Gets your mind off it. But yeah. I mean, you say like, oh, I went over and fought in a war, like people are like, okay, you like humped a bunch of weight, you had guns, you were shooting shit was blowing up, and you were just, you know, killing people. To come home and like have to talk to somebody and have to tell them like, well, I'm having a hard time sleeping at night, like it's not something you want to do. You know, you just try to hide it as much as you can. You know, you're still in that mentality of not wanting to be the weakest link. I think it's just where I sit and think about things that I don't really need to think about. So when I have something like riding to distract me, and I would ride, like, that's all I think about is riding. Want some water? Yeah. I got you, dude.
You got me in my mouth.
Ready?
Yeah.
What a waste of water.
Why would you think like I'm gonna just pour water in your mouth though? We've been riding streets, dude. I've been riding streets all day, dog. Yeah. Last night we went and hit the tunnel downtown.
Me and Jason got speed wobble.
Both of you. I was just behind her. I see both of you like this. I was like,
gas
oh my God,
pouring
please
out of my tank.
take
I'm
care of him.
like, he really wants this, doesn't he? When people used to tell me, my family would tell me that you're on a death trap, you need to be an organ donor, and I'm like, I've done way worse shit than wheelies in the street, you know, and jumping out of airplanes in the military. You could just tell the difference between people who are in the military. I'm not saying people who are not in the military are pieces of shit, but you can just tell the difference between a soldier and a civilian. I'm holding it, just don't worry about it, I got you.
I don't like going down.
Don't worry, I'm holding it. So if it falls, I got you.
Get it, you gotta learn someday.
I got you, don't worry. You're good. I'm holding it right now.
No,
so if
you're
you fall,
not.
I got you. Hey Trish, I'm way over here.
I know, I hear you.
There it goes.
Oh, damn it!
When I got out of the Marine Corps, my gunny and his wife, they got me this. It's an Eagle Globe and Anchor, which is the Marine Corps emblem. And with like, well, it was like a hot pink and a green, but I wear it so often that it's pretty used. But I wear it almost every day. I remember I sent my mom a picture of me my first day at the law with like all my gear. She's like, well, I'm glad you're wearing your gear. She's like, keep wearing it. She's like, please be careful. And it's funny because my parents are very religious and Sundays are usually like our lot days. So my mom would be like, you should be going to church instead. And I'm like, this is my church. Like when I first started, I was out there like pretty much every day after school, or when Kevin would get home, we would load up and head to the lot. Probably like 4 or 5 days a week we were out there.
Yeah, I met Kevin at school. I knew of Kevin. I knew he was like a big stunt rider dude, and I saw some random Facebook page saying a group ride. I decided to go out to it, do a couple wheelies, and then Kevin came up to me. He's like, hey man, you did good at riding. Went out with him, and then went to the lot, and he was there every day I was there, and he taught me, and we became really good friends after that, and eventually teammates, which, you know, to me, it's one of the best things that's ever happened to me.
I'm really appreciative of Kevin. He really pushes me, and any stunt ride that I go to, he's almost like I go with him for the most part. So in a sense, I'm like his little ride or die friend.
I think it's the same thing. Don't set fucking fireworks off. Are we allowed to cuss? We're not allowed to cuss. I'm around kids and I'm like, oh fuck.
That little kid that comes out. Every
His
time.
dad looks at me like he wants to punch me in the face. My first time with a bike was in Hawaii. I saw somebody steal a motorcycle, and he just drove off, and I was like, oh, that's cool. And I basically taught myself how to ride. Bought a bike in Denver, and 5 minutes later, I smashed it into a curb because I didn't know how to ride one. I just wanted one. And my friend had to come pick me up because I was an hour away from home.
And my first ex-wife's mom. I have to differentiate.
That's a big military thing, too. Ex-wives.
I did 2 deployments, so I have 2 ex-wives. They were like well off, so she just, oh, buy whatever bike you want.
Yeah.
So I got this brand new R1. It was like the first R1 in the state. And then I had my friend ride it home for me. I was like, dude, I don't want to drop it. It's too much bike for me.
A lot of people who ride are vets too, which is crazy. You start to meet a lot of guys who ride and they're all ex-military too, or still in the military.
I joined when I was 17. I went to basic when I was 18. I met a guy there. His name was Mike. Mike rode when I met it. Well, he was pretty much the first person I rode with. One of the first people I rode with. First little motorcycle family I was part of. He was there when I crashed my first bike. He was there when I bought my first brand new bike. Pretty much who taught me how to ride. It's pretty faded now, but I don't care to redo it because me, him, and the other guy all got this before he left. Probably about 3-4 weeks later, something like that, they told us we were deploying overseas. So we started partying and everything, drinking, you know, just like any 19-year-old would, I guess. When we were leaving, we found out that the whole company was actually getting split up into platoon-size elements. So when we deployed, we actually went to different parts of the country. We went overseas in March. In September, I remember exactly where I was. We were taking a class on new IEDs that the enemy were making. You know, we were outside on a little break and we were walking in and the guys right in front of me, they just like kind of nonchalantly said some stuff about, oh, you heard a guy in another unit was KIA. It's this guy Miller or something. And like right then I just like shut down, and I remember I sat in the class for another 4 hours and don't remember a word they said. And the next day it came out that he had died in an IED explosion. They were in a Humvee and it had blown up and he didn't make it out. So his bracelet just has his, his name and his, our company and the date that he passed away. So I wear it every day.
Like, I've never showered with dudes except for the military and my stunt team. It's some weird shit that, like...
Yeah.
But it's not even, like...
It can be gay, but then it turns pretty cool after. Not to sound gay or nothing. But.
People that don't understand won't understand, and they're gonna think we're really gay, but I've seen, like, all my teammates' dicks, and it's so weird. But it's like, it's not even, like, a thing anymore. I'm just like, whatever, there's this dick.
It's like bound to happen. Literally get naked.
Yes. That's what our whole team is. Everyone just gets naked all the time. I think it's the funniest thing.
But when you're riding with your friends, like they're talking about like a family, and you get that good feeling of family and a community together, you know? So it kind of fills that void, I think.
It's like you're complete at that moment.
Yeah.
And then once you get out of that moment, it's just like, fuck. You miss that moment with the family that
Yeah.
you had in the military. It's just like.
Because in the
that's where I
military,
wanna
it's
go back.
constant.
I think if somebody asked me tomorrow if I want to go overseas a contract, I'd probably go.
Hell
Yeah.
Would you do outside the wire, inside the wire? You don't care?
If I had a choice, probably outside. I wouldn't,
Yeah, not
I
so
wouldn't want
bored.
to sit on the base all day.
If I wasn't stunt riding, I probably would. Sometimes when you're not stunt riding, I feel like I'm bored. Like, I don't know, kind of miss the structure sometimes.
All got bail money?
Dee-dum, dee-dee, a teedly-doo-dee-day. Dee-dum, dee-dee, it's part of the game we play. Dee-dum, dee-dee, the words are easy to say. Just a teedly-dum, a teedly-doo-dee-day.
Every man for himself when it's time to run.
Rev limiter coasters. Got too excited. I was like, all right, here you go. I got the camera on me. Got a little, he's like, I'm like, all right, it's time to get back up. Let out the clutch. Scrape. Ate shit, and then that's the end of that.
Just staple it.
You guys staple it? I can't
Yeah,
feel anything.
I actually do. If that's the case, we got to staple it right now. I have some contact solution in my truck, and I think that's saline, so it's like sterile. I have a hatchet that's really sharp. We just have to heat it up with a lighter.
Every time we come up with a good idea, he second guesses it.
No, he said we might have to do that. He agreed.
Oh, like right now?
I'm gonna heat that bitch up right now.
Can't feel anything, so.
Real quick.
I gotta take a snapshot of it first.
I gotta take a snapshot.
Hey, what's up with my lighter, man? Okay, let's get something straight here before we start. This is really gonna hurt, okay?
We'll do it fast.
Okay. The thing is, since the skin's going that way, come this way so you don't peel it up
I'm
more.
gonna go this way with it.
Well, don't like
No,
just
like
straight chop it.
down this way.
What do you mean don't chop
If you
it?
go up that way, it'll rip. I think this is a really bad idea now that I'm grabbing it. It's thick.
There's a lot of skin.
Dude, it's
Huh? This is way worse.
Did you even cut?
No, I don't think it's cutting.
No?
I don't think it's cutting either.
Dude, is that,
Oh
what
my
is that
goodness.
muscle?
Can you feel that?
Probably.
I can't feel anything.
Yeah, dude, that's not it. That means he's gonna have to get it. He's gonna get that disinfected or something.
Oh, just keep going, keep going, keep going.
I can't get a grip on it.
Oh, it's gone. Okay, you good.
Can I have this?
Here, leave your leg up here, sideways.
Can I have this?
Oh my god.
Yo, this is your gift to me for doing this.
You gonna frame it? Yeah, dude, he's like a little penis. Look at this skin, it's still alive. Hold on.
Good job, Jason. You got hair on it. Here. Can we just put that back on there?
Hey, can we take you to the doctors and be like, hey, can you reattach this for me? You need a nap.
Hold on, I want to take a video of this now.
You circumcised me.
I did. Well, I say we are officially doctors now. Huh?
I'm no
Open it up,
doctor,
let me
but
see. We have to cut the skin off. Look at that.
surgery went well.
Oh, that's his skin just hanging on. Somebody delete this off Instagram.
Why are you touching it?
Look how thick it is. It's
I
just
see
skin
it.
and blood. Just
I'm good though.
squeeze it.
I've already seen it. I don't need to squeeze it.
Oh, it's weird when you squeeze it. Here, just take that back.
Well,
Just
dude,
take that back.
don't put, dude, you're gonna get it infected. It's all over.
Oh, you're worried about that now?
Yeah.
Yeah. I need more
I
nights
got
like this to keep me sane. What was that? Oh. All right, Daisy, you ready to go party?
This is the kind of bullshit that makes me miss the military.